r/AskReddit. Students of Reddit, what is something your teacher did that really pissed the whole class? Turned off the AC to punish the people passing notes. Man, we had a teacher for our lab who, when the class started talking even a little, would turn off all the 4 fans except for the 5th one, which was right above him. Must suck to be the spouse with that kind of passive aggressiveness. Told us to get over our classmate who committed suicide over the weekend. Edit. It was a small class of 12 students and we all knew him very well. Screamed at the class because he assumed that an intermittent beeping sound that occurred throughout the lecture was somebody receiving texts. It was the projector that he was using, alerting him to the fact that it was overheating. Dumbus. That's almost as good as the time a substitute tried to confiscate a student's phone when it beeped. It was a diabetes thing attached to the student's body. I had a college professor who was teaching a history course to a bunch of education majors in their junior year. She would ask us questions all the time about things she hadn't yet lectured on and then pull the "really? No one knows the answer to this? Well, I guess we'll just wait for someone to answer." We were all education majors. We knew that trick. We waited her out every single time. She always broke first. Edit. People keep asking what's the trick. This was a poorly executed attempt at using the Socratic method. It's better to have students arrive at an answer themselves than it is to tell them. However, you have to first create an environment of trust and respect so that students are comfortable enough to risk a wrong answer. And you have to be willing to provide a little bit of scaffolding should no one know. This professor did neither of those things. She ended up leaving for her vacation earlier than she thought, so our final projects needed to be done 3 days early. Not a big deal if she hadn't told us with 2 days notice. I don't get how teachers get away with this. We had our teachers change the exam topic. I took graphic design as a GCSE. My practice exam was an A grade. They then changed the exam to resistant materials with about 2 weeks notice. I ended up with a C grade in my GCSE. Only one person got to do the exam we studied for because their mother went ballistic. Our religious studies GCSE teacher taught us the syllabus for the wrong exam board, so we had to go into school for 3 days during the Easter holidays to learn the entire new syllabus. Numerous times they failed students at an exam, then publicly admitting that passing 40-50% of students that took the exam would be too much, and that's considered normal behavior. I absolutely hate this. There was a teacher at my old university who just so happened to be the father of one of my closest friends. I was very confused in the beginning when everyone hated him because to me he seemed like a nice guy. I find out later he takes pride in failing his students and will actively fail anyone he feels isn't interested or putting in enough effort. One of my favorite professors said it best: if half your students fail your class, you have failed as an educator for half those students. Yep, damn near aced a class, but I never showed up. Our syllabus said attendance wasn't required, but was highly recommended. My prof must have taken offense to my lack of attendance and failed me. He also took pride in having a 40% pass rate. Only reason he kept his job is because he was the only professor teaching the class. He wouldn't let the class go until everyone rolled some dice, and if you got 6 on any of the 2 you could leave. I got so many tardy slips and call homes because of him. What was the reasoning? Neutral evil. During English controlled assessments she would play whale noises in the background to help us focus. Class, to help you focus I have put on calming whale noises. Whale horn starts playing. Isn't that better? Meanwhile in whale school. Students, to help you focus I have put on calming human noises. Oh yeah. Isn't that better? Our French teacher held a 5-minute detention for the entire class because we waited outside the classroom for her to let us in. You know, like polite kids do. She claimed we were wasting her time and sent a detention note home to all the parents. Better still, on results day she said, "Wow, I didn't expect you to get an A." Reply to the teacher: "Well, based on your teaching I am a little surprised myself." Pretty standard teacher stuff. Keeping the whole class in at lunch for something one person had done. It was the fact that the school had very clear behavior punishment policies that teachers and pupils alike understood that pissed us off, because she blatantly broke them just to prove a point. My German teacher would make you retake spelling tests until you got 100%. Once you did you could sit and do whatever you like until the whole class got 100%. This caused a lot of pressure on everyone as he used to belittle the students who didn't pass first or the second time. If you was the only one left, he would stand over you and watch you struggle. One test day I decided to bunk off and I got caught. I burst into tears and explained how horrible this teacher was and that I'm never going back into his class. I was moved into a higher set German class with an amazing teacher and my German improved. Oh, this one's a favorite. Post-English class. Break starts. I remain at my desk and do the homework the teacher assigned. Break ends. Teacher comes back. Sees I've done the homework already. She waits for all the class to come back. Then she shouts, since Emeril has already done the homework, you all get 2 extra pages. Needless to say, that didn't improve my bullying situation. Gave a C to an 85+% test because she gives grades relative to the average performance of a student. What? In order to encourage students to not work hard and better themselves. And also to undermine their efforts of getting into further education. Sounds like a recipe for success. This was second year, 12th grade, in school. My teacher, unable to manage 20 of these rowdy kids, is pretty enraged by the end of the class. She has a thing about counting every piece of equipment after class, and she begins counting the Newton meters. Now, if you don't know what these are, they are literally a metal spring with plastic around it that measures how much an item weighs. This teacher counted 19, when there was definitely 20, so she holds us back from lunch. She brings the faculty head in, and we get a bollocking from her. Cannot steal from the school. Unjust yada yada. If we were rowdy before, we're aging now. And she requests the least well-behaved kids open their bags. Of course these kids are protesting, but the teacher offers detention if they don't comply. So after rummaging through a bunch of pubescent kids' bags and finding nothing, she finally goes back to her desk to find the Newton meter sitting behind her world's best teacher mug. Look on her face. Priceless. Not just the whole class, but the whole school. She got a bunch of teachers fired because of petty office politics, and those teachers were older and more beloved than her. Forced us to make a donation to a charity. When I didn't bring anything in, I got a demerit. Had to argue that not everyone has the ability to give something away. She then told me off for back chatting in front of the class. Everyone was like, WTF. Head teacher of my high school tried to expel me for having an epileptic seizure in front of him. Said I was a danger and distraction to others' pupils and was disrupting his school. I ended up being kept out of school for 2 months while my parents fought my case. In that time almost all of the rest of the teaching staff, who were furious with this decision, kept me supplied with work and even one-to-one tutoring when needed. This was in a rural area where the next nearest school was 40 miles away, so we had no other school choice. He would act like he was enlightened and say it like video games rot your brain. All your free time should be spent on education as that is all that matters, but then during the lessons he would go completely off topic and start talking about random it. Apparently he is making a board game that could compete with chess because he is just that brilliant. On the last day of school it is custom, in Germany, that you don't do anything and just watch a movie or go to town and eat an ice cream. We are a school where you have class from 8 to 16. And we're the state that has summer vacation last. So in the last lesson where we did ducking maths, which no one likes, he told us at the end, how does it feel to be the last students doing lessons in the whole of Germany? Spent the entire semester in uni telling us half the material would not be on the semester exam. Guess what? All the material was on the semester exam and it tanked all of our scores because the professor was a dick and hated that people go to uni to get a qualification for a job. He hated anyone in his class that didn't aspire towards a career in academia. We were about 10-11 years old. It was the last period of the day and the music teacher was subbing our science class. He was sitting on the computer and we were all getting on with work. Towards the end of the period our homeroom teacher comes into the classroom and exclaims, "It's the end of the day. Why are you all not packed up?" To which the music teacher replied, "I told them and they refused to. Excuse you." He hadn't said a thing to us, so we all protested. Even so our homeroom teacher told us off for being disobedient as the music teacher slithered out of the room and we had to stay 10 minutes late as punishment. Lying snake. At university, my professor did not tell us the time of our examination, despite numerous emails from 20 odd students, as well as the head professor of the course. This exam could have been any time from 9 AM to 5 PM. And I lived 90 minutes from campus and relied on crap public transport to get into uni. It got to 9 PM the day before the exam. No one knew when the exam would be, and if we missed it we would fail the whole module. So I took the train to the city where my uni is, booked a cheap, itty hotel room for the night, just to make sure I was there on time. We all took the exam at 12 PM, after getting an email an hour before the exam was being held, so I wouldn't have made it in time if I stayed at home. Worst part was that no one cared, not the professor, the course lead, or the head of our school. They all just left 30 students in the lurch, allowing them to potentially fail the exam and therefore the module. I'd really appreciate it if you liked and subscribed. Thank you for watching. Thanks for watching. Be sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe to be entered into our iMac giveaway.